Alrighty, there we go. Oh, poor Silas is waiting for me to talk before putting the light on for me. No, that's not the one. Keep going. No, that's not the one. Yeah, that's the one. All right. So in about 2 minutes, I won't be able to see anyone. I'll just be blinded by this light, but we'll see how it goes. Rightio. So we are in Romans chapter 2. We've just, not last week, because I had a sickie last Sunday, but last week that I preached, we were in Romans chapter 2, verse 1 through to 16. And today we're in verses 17 through to 29. And I think it's important to recap a little bit what the other week was since I was away. So we were looking at the idea, Paul is building the case that everyone is universally guilty. That before God, we all share the same guilt. There's not one person who's more guilty than another, but universally, all of us, all of humanity stands condemned because of sin. And then the other thing we looked at was that we can judge others. Did we get that point? We can actually judge people, but we don't judge as people who can't own anything ourselves. And when we judge, we have to look at ourselves and remove the plank that is in our eye. Only then will we be able to judge our fellow man. And then the not the final thing, but the other thing worth mentioning was that Paul is speaking to the Jews and saying to the Jews, you cannot hide behind the law. You can't just hide behind the law and say, we've got the law, therefore we are innocent. We're good with God. We don't need to do anything else. We can hide behind the law. But also Paul was saying to the Gentiles, just because you haven't directly been given the law, you can't hide either. And so there was no ability to hide except both will face God's judgment. And being found in Christ is the only way to be saved. Fast forward to the modern day, and that's what we believe. We believe that it's only those who are found in Christ who are able to be saved. With that backdrop set, let's read verse 17 to 20. And I'll try to go slow because there's a fair bit of content to get through. Which is the nature of Romans. It's a jam-packed book. But if you call yourself a Jew and rely on the law and boast in God and know His will and approve what is excellent, because you are instructed by the law, and if you are sure that you yourself are a guide to the blind, a light to those who are in darkness, an instructor of the foolish, a teacher of children, having in the law the embodiment of knowledge and truth. So Paul is addressing the Jews, and he's saying, if, that's a conditional statement, if you call yourself a Jew, and they were like, yeah, I call myself a Jew, I've got Abraham as my father. Well, if you call yourself a Jew, then, and he goes through all these things, and you rely on the law and boast in God,